Well, welcome to Percents Part 2B. This is the second part, and we're going to go over some problems in changing decimals to percents, but I want to share a trick with you. In the last lesson, we talked about changing a decimal, let's say 45 hundredths to a percent. We move the decimal 2 places to the right. So if we move it 2 places to the right, it just becomes the whole number 45, and then we put the percent sign. So the problem is then, how do we know whether we go to the right, whether moving decimal places to the right or to the left or this or that? So if we're going decimals to percents, we're going from D in the alphabet to P in the alphabet. And if I wrote the alphabet that way, to go from D to P, I have to go to the right. So if I'm changing a decimal to a percent, if I think of the alphabet going from D to P is moving to the right, so I always know that I have to move it 2 decimal places. So I'm moving 2 decimal places to the right. So keep that in mind. That may become helpful to remember that if you're changing decimals, the D, to percents, the P, you're moving 2 decimal places towards the right. Well, let me put some problems up. 45 hundredths. Let's go 6 tenths. Put up 8 thousandths. We'll put up 8 hundredths. And we'll put up 15 hundredths. Well, put the video or DVD on pause. Work the problems in your notebook or on a piece of paper, and then turn the DVD or video back on, and we'll go over the answers. So go ahead. Well, welcome back. Okay, so our job was then to change these decimal fractions into percents. And remember, we know that percent means denominator 100. All right, so 45 hundredths, well, this is very easy because 45 hundredths is already 45 hundredths percent. So, but let's do it this way. We move 2 places, 1, 2, and we have the whole number, 45. We don't have to put the decimal over here because it's a whole number, so 45%. And let's go back here. This is 45 hundredths. If I read that decimal fraction 45 hundredths, and I know hundredths, denominator 100 means percent, so this is 45%. Good, let's try this one. 6 tenths. Well, I'll move the decimal place 2 places, 1, 2. There's nothing there, so I have to put a 0. So I get 60%, and I do not put the decimal point there. All right, let's look at this one. 8 thousandths. If I move the decimal place 2 places to the right, because I'm going from decimal to percent, 1, 2, that gives me 8 tenths of a percent. 8 tenths. Good, let's clean this up a little bit so we can do the other ones. Okay, so here I have 8 hundredths. Move it 2 places to the right, 1, 2, and I have the whole number 8, so I don't put the decimal, so 8%. And it makes sense because 8 hundredths, denominator 100 means percent, so that equals 8%. And let's do the last one. 15 hundredths, well, the same thing. We move it 2 places, 1, 2. It's the whole number 15, and we do not put the percent sign there. Excellent. Let's try some new problems. Again, keep in mind if you're moving from decimals, D, to percents, P, you're moving to the right, 2 decimal places to the right. Well, let's try this one. 1 6/10, that's a mixed decimal. 2 25/100, another mixed decimal. Let's try, let's try this. 375 thousandths. And let's try this. Let's try this one. 9/10. Okay, so put the video or the DVD on pause. Work these problems in your notebook and then put it back on play and we'll go over them. Well, welcome back. All right, we're going to change this decimal, this mixed decimal, 1 6/10, to a percent. We move the decimal point 2 places to the right because we're going from D decimal to P percent, going to the right 2 places. 1, 2. Well, we have to put a 0 holder in there, so we get 160%. So 1 6/10 is equal to 160%. Let's take this one, 2 25/100, that's the decimal, the mixed decimal. Well, move it 2 places, 1, 2, and we get 225%, and we do not put the decimal there because this is a whole number. All right, let's clean this up. 375 thousandths in decimals, and we want to change it to a percent. Well, we move the decimal 2 places, 1, 2, and we get 37 5/10, or 1/2%. And the last one, 9/10, move the decimal place 2, 1, 2, we have to put a holder there, and we get 90%. Good, good. Let's do a couple more. Let's try 66 2/3 hundredths. And let's try 5/10. Okay, put your video or DVD on pause and work the problems and then turn it back on. Go ahead. Okay, excellent. So let's finish this up. We're going to change these to percents. Well, I move the decimal 2 places to the right. So I get 66 2/3. Now, percent. Now, since this is a fraction, we do not put the decimal there. We do not need the decimal there. But if we had this, we had this 667 thousandths, and we moved it 2 places to the right, it would be 66 7/10%. So we'd have to put the decimal there. But this is a fraction, so we don't put the decimal. And our final one, 5/10. We move the decimal place 2 places. We have to put a 0. So we have 50%. And we do not put the decimal there. Well, excellent. So that is changing decimals to percents. We move 2 decimal places to the right, And the way I remember that is I'm going from decimal to percent, from D to P, moves to the right. Thank you very much. Good job.